Attention please, before the webinar starts, we would like to ask all participants to change the display name according to the format that has been determined. Please write origin of institution, dash full name, and use the virtual background that has been provided by the committee if it's possible.
And during the webinar, participants are requested to turn off the microphone and keep the camera on. We also remind you to first fill in the presence link that has been sent in the Zoom meetings chat column.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon.
Best wishes for all of us. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, greetings of year 2.
To the Honorable Dean of Economics Faculty, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Mr. Professor Dr. Ari Saptono, SE, MPD,
Whom we respect, the head of Diploma for Digital Office Administration Study Program, Mr. Dr. Christian Wiradendi Wolor, SEMM.
Our main speaker today, Mr. Assistant Professor Burkan Tarhan, PhD from Basisir University.
And we also respect all lecturers of the Economics Faculty, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, along with all participants who have joined this afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, we wish you welcome to the Human Resources Digitalization International Webinar held by Diploma for Digital Office Administration, Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, with the theme Office of Human Resource Development Strategy in the Digital Era. This webinar is held on Saturday, September 17, 2022, from 2 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. West Indonesian Time, or 10 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. Turkey time, online via Zoom meetings and YouTube.
It is an honor for me, Gracia Rena Saputri, and my partner,
Alia Fitri Maharani,
student of Diploma for Digital Office Administration, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, as the Master of Ceremony who will guide the webinar this afternoon. The next agenda, namely, remarks from the head of the Diploma for Digital Office Administration Study Program, to Mr. Dr. Christian Wiradendi Wolor, SEMM. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Gracia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Greeting to all of us. First of all, let us praise and gratitude to God Almighty. For His grace, we can gather in the international webinar Office Human Resource Development Strategy Office in the Digital Era. We respect Professor Dr. Ari Saptono as a Dean of the Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Ms. Susan Febriantina, MPD, as a moderator for the international webinar today, Mr. Dr. Burkan Tarhan, PhD, as a research person, Mr. and Mrs. Lecturer, and who I love, all students in the Zoom. Please allow me to report to our Dean of Faculty Economics of Universitas Negeri Jakarta that today's international webinar is a form of internationalization of the D-4 Digital Office Administration Study Program, aimed at students having an understanding of strategies, preparation, problem, challenge, and development human resource skills in the office world in today's digital era, especially after COVID pandemic. Today's activity will be presented by a great resource person, Mr. Dr. Burkan, PhD, from Berkshire University. For that, The Dean is pleased to officially open the international webinar, Office Human Resource in the Digital Era. That's my welcome speech. Sorry if there are shortcomings and mistakes. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Christian, for the welcome that has been delivered.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next speech will be delivered by the Dean of the Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, as well as officially opening the webinar this afternoon. To Mr. Professor Dr. Ari Saptono, SE MPD, time is yours.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good afternoon in Jakarta and good morning in Istanbul, Turkey. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Speaker Furkan Tarhan, PhD, the Honorable Vice Dean, Faculty of Economics, Honorable Chairs of the Study Program Faculty of Economics, especially the Digital Office Administration Study Program. Dear respected lecturer and college students, it gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you on the occasion of the International Webinar on Human Resource Digitalization. This international webinar is organized by the Digital Office Administration Study Program. Thank you, Dr. Christian Radendiwalor, for hosting this webinar. Yeah, we will also like to express my gratitude to the speaker, Mr. Furkan Tarhan, PhD, who has come online to share her knowledge and experience. I believe that your speak will give a significant contribution to the audience of the seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, we do hope that this seminar will allow all participants to capitalize on enough knowledge and experience, especially about office human resource development strategy in the digital era. As a mean capitalized building, thank you very much for your participation. I do hope that you will enjoy this meeting and gain valuable benefit from it. Have a productive and nice meeting with all of you. Finally, I would like to thank all parties that have supported the preparation of this special event. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Dean, for the remarks and at the same time opening the webinar this afternoon.
Happy guests, entering the main agenda, namely the delivery of material about Office Human Resource Development Strategy in the Digital Era, which will be guided by our moderator today. Previously, we will briefly read the CV from the moderator. To the operator team, please share the CV from the moderator.
Our moderator today is Ma'am Susan Febriantina, who was born in Tasikmalaya on 16 February 1981 and her nationality is Indonesia. You can contact her through the mobile phone and email listed. Ma'am Susan is currently in doctoral program in Management Science, Universitas Negeri Jakarta. She was graduated from Bachelor of Study in Department of English Education, Faculty of Education, Universitas Siliwangi Tasikmalaya on 2003, and graduated from Master Study Department of Educational Management, Faculty of Education Management, Universitas Negeri Jakarta on 2013. Ma'am Susan is currently a lecturer at the Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta. She was also an English teacher at the Islamic Junior and Senior High School on 2003 until 2014, and at Public Elementary School on 2000 until 2002. Ma'am Susan has research interests in educational science and has so many research experience through 2003 until 2020. That was the CV from our moderator this afternoon. Welcome, Ma'am Susan.
All right, thank you so much, both Gracia and Aulia. Yeah, can you hear my voice?
Yes, ma'am. We can
Okay,
hear you.
thank you. Ya, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings for all. Respectable the Dean of Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Professor Dr. Ari Sabtono, MPD, the Head of Digital Office Administration Program, Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Dr. Christian Wiradendi Wolor, ST, MM, the Honorable, our main speaker of today's international webinar, Mr. Herkan Tarhan, PhD, Honorable, all the lecturers, Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, and all participants in the international webinar. Firstly, I would like to thank to Master of Ceremony for giving me a chance to be the moderator of today's webinar. I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, our topic today is about Office Human Resource Development Strategy in the digital era. This topic has become very important to be discussed for us, since a digital human resource strategy provides the opportunity for human resource to shape the future of work and have a clear view of how jobs will evolve. How do we implement this strategy? The human resource strategy in this digital era? We are going to learn from our speaker today. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce our speaker today. To the operator, would you like to share the CV of our speaker today, please? All right, thank you so much. Here, our speaker today. Our speaker today is Mr. Herkan Tarhan, PhD. He was born in Turkey on 2nd of December 1974. He can be contacted on his mobile phone and on his email at herkantarhan@gmail.com. Now he lives in Istanbul, Turkey. He is an assistant professor at Graduate School of Bahçeşehir University, Istanbul, Turkey, in management, human resource management, research methods, statistical data analysis, leadership, and change. He is also a director of Innovative Educators Association, and experience in vocational training and Erasmus projects. He is also an international archery judge. Wow, amazing, sir. And then he is starting a new job at Final International University at Faculty of Economics as an assistant professor from 1st October, yeah? Well, actually, ladies and gentlemen, there are still many CVs of our speaker today, but due to the time constraint, we will get to know our speaker directly through this webinar. Thank you, the operator. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, let me allow to inform you all that our webinar will be split into two sessions. The first session will have presentations from our speakers and run for 45 minutes. Then the second session will be question and answers at around 15 or 20 minutes. Therefore, our speaker, Dr. Herkan Tarhan, PhD, please welcome.
So, hello everyone. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So, first of all, I would like to thank to my colleague Christian Riadandi. We work together
thank you.
with him. I think we will also do better things in the future. So I can say that Jakarta University or in Indonesia where he works, you are very lucky because he is really ambitious to do his job. I see that, I follow him. So I think you are very lucky to have him in your university, and I'm also lucky to have as a friend of mine. So before I start, it was a short speech. Now, may I start with my presentation?
Sure, sir. Please.
So, okay. So, first of all, I would like to introduce myself, but already Susan helped me about this. So I work as an assistant professor, and I will be in North Cyprus from 1st October. I will be working there at Final International University, but I will still continue giving master's lectures on Bahçeşehir University, Istanbul online, not face-to-face, just one day for master's students. So I have still connections with Istanbul and Bahçeşehir University. So today's outline is we will talk about digital human resources management. But first, what is human resources and evolution of HR, the history, how it became today, and what is human resources information system. We will describe e-business and the role of e-technology in an organization, because before coming to human resources, everything is digitalized. We will talk about this and define the concept of EHR and identify the pros and cons of EHR, and then HRM, e-human resources management in practice. How is the implementation done, and the effects of technology on human resources functions. And then we will have 3 cases from companies. I think this is the most important part of the at the end of my presentation. Now, and learning outcomes. After this lecture, each participant is expected to understand the implementation of human resources in the digital era, and I'm sure that you are going to share, gain knowledge with others. So it will be also a dissemination. Also, we are recording this. And I think you will be motivated when participating in these human resources activities digitally, and you will develop office skills for the future work, and you will be ready to change in the digital era. So the role of competitive advantage. So competitive advantage, as you know, is important for organization. So there are 3 categories of resources. One of them is the physical, the other organizational, and we have the human resources, which I can say the most critical one. So today we will talk about human resources. And when we say human resources management, it's a broad concept referring to the philosophy, policies, procedures, and practices, how to manage people. And if it is managed effectively, I mean the human resources of an organization, it's really a critical factor in the overall success of the organization. And Otherwise, if it's not effective, most companies seem to fail in their and they can't survive. And when we look at the major processes in HRM, so it's planning, job and work design, staffing, training and development, performance appraisal and review, and also compensation and reward. These all things are the functions of human resources management. And here you see a figure, and here the company, the organization has the mission and strategy. Before, I mean in the past, human resources was not part of the company's mission and strategy. It was just a personal management, staffing, payrolls, and that was the only thing. But now it's a complicated thing, and you have to consider job and work design, staffing, training and development, performance appraisal and review, compensation and reward, protection and representation, organizational improvement, and human resources planning. These all should be linked to each other and also aligned to the mission and strategy of the organization. This is very important. And we talk about digitalization. There is a talk for many years. It arguably reached a tipping point, especially what we had during pandemic, we call COVID-19. But the digital revolution is now a huge driver of change across sectors and geographies, as organizations are trying to figure out what big data and the Internet of Things mean for their business, because it's everything for business technology. Now, when we talk about human resources information system, it's a computerized system which provides current and accurate data for purposes of control and decision making. And what are the benefits? You can store and retrieve large quantities of data, big data, combine and reconfigure data to create new information. And the institutionalization of organizational knowledge, and it enables easier communications, and it enables lower administrative costs, increased productivity and response time. So these are advantages. And it's not just hardware, software, it includes people, forms, policies, procedures, and data. Everything is combined. And the purpose, it provides accurate and timely information to the clients or stakeholders of human resources. Now, there are a variety of users, strategic, tactical, operational decisions. It can be used everywhere. Now, let's see the historical eras in human resources information systems. What happened? Pre-World War II, it was reactive, caretaker role. There was only manual record keeping. And scientific management was a philosophy, and it wasn't major part of business. Human resources was not the major part of business, and there were just a few government regulations. So it was just somewhere, but it wasn't important. And after the war, post-war, between 1945 and 1960, so employee morale started to become important, and human resources part of operating costs, it wasn't in the mainstream. It was just again on side. So first labor unions established, this was important, and job descriptions gained popularity. This was also important for human resources. So payroll function among the first for automation. So there is a starting point. Job analysis, employee skills begin to be tracked. Research and development in selection, and mainframe, it wasn't a computer maybe, but the first computer thing was started to be used by defense industry in human resources. And after that, between 1963 and 80, social issues legislation impact HR. So protector of employees, and the first computer introduction of IBM 360. Today it's not a computer, but at that time it was. Intro of management information systems, and paperwork and reporting increases. Now HR, now more in mainstream of operating budget. So it started to be considered. And cost effectiveness between 80 and 90. HR cost justification activities, increased role due to paperwork required in legislation. Microcomputers and software advances started. Human resources information system capabilities, lowering cost, and increased emphasis on research and development. Utility analysis critical, and smaller companies also can utilize human resources information system. Now, technology advancement era, since 90s, developing every day, internet-enabled web services, information systems more commonplace in business environment, business process re-engineering, HR balance scorecard started to use, strategic HR management is a core concept, HR becoming more visible as a strategic business partner, and globalization of companies started. Hardware, software tools started to be used in decision making and through utilizing technology. Now, applications of human resources information systems, application of computers to employee-related record keeping. So it's really important for record keeping and reporting, and to management decision making. Now, basic human resources information systems consist of data on employee, other data like job classification, etc. Calibration and integration of software and hardware, staff, manual operation, policies and procedures, and also users. Now, an organized collection of people, procedures, software, databases, and devices, information system that support to manage human resources. So why we use human resources information system? So to facilitate each human resources function or process. Now, the impact of the electronic era on business. So it's, as I said at the beginning, not only human resources, everything is digitalized, business is digitalized. So let's talk about e-business today. E-business is doing business digitally, digital buying, selling, supply chain, electronic customer support, automated order tracking. So while these are happening, you cannot control your human resources manually. So you are doing everything digitally, so human resources also should be digitalized. So electronic or e-business will form the basis on which business will be conducted in the future. And organizations that understand the impending demands of the internet economy stand the greatest chance for success with their e-transformation. And with it, you can do more than just be aware of these changes. They must develop new best practices to address them. Now, here we see the figure about e-operations, e-marketing, e-services. Let's see, e-operations, automation of administrative processes, supply chain, reconfiguration and integration, re-engineering of primary infrastructure, and intensified competitive procurement, increased parenting value. And when we talk about e-marketing, enhanced selling process, customer usage experience, customer buying experience, and e-services, understanding the customer needs, giving support, provision of customer service, knowledge of all relevant providers, and negotiation of customer requirements, and construction of consumer customer options. Now, HR activities and the time spent. When we talk about the transactional activities, It's between 65–75%. What are these? Benefits administration, record keeping, and employee service. And when we talk about traditional HR activities like recruitment, selection, training, performance management, compensation, employee relations, so these take between 15 to 30%. And when we talk about transformational, which is between 5 and 15%, knowledge management, strategic redirection and renewal, cultural change, management development, and added value. Now, interface between human resources and technology. Information technology as a tool, not a substitute for people. It's a tool to manage people. It's not a substitute for people. How might the changes in technology impact the role and perceptions of HR departments and professions? This is a thing that we should discuss. And how might technology aid in the advancement of strategic HRM? And biggest advantages of human resources information systems. So reduced manual handling and paperwork. So today, as you know, paperwork is a really disgusting thing because we are used to do everything digitally. Now we don't like to work on papers, and it enables greater impact of paperwork on business operation, reports, analysis, negotiations, communications. And what steps do we need in computerizing human resources? System planning, system design, vendor selection, system implementation, system maintenance, and evaluation. And the question is, why do we need human resources information systems? To provide a comprehensive information picture as a single integrated database. And this enables organizations to provide structural connectivity across units and activities, departments, and to increase the speed of information transactions. This is a speed in the organization and increasing competitiveness by improving HR operations. Competitive advantage, as you know, is really important, and it also supports management processes. Collecting appropriate data, reliable data, and converting them to information and knowledge for improved timeliness and quality of decision making. Producing a great number and variety of accurate and real-time HR-related reports. So it's also helpful for reports. Streamlining and enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness of HR administrative functions. Shifting the focus of HR from the processing of transactions to strategic HRM. Re-engineering HR processes and functions. Improving employee satisfaction by delivering HR services more quickly. And then harnessing the potential of an human resources information system. It's the ability of an organization to gain effectiveness and efficiencies from human resources technology depend on some factors, as the size of the organization, with large firms generally reaping greater benefits, and the amount of top management support and commitment, and the availability of resources like time, money, personnel, and the HR philosophy of the company, as well as its vision. It's important, organizational culture, structure, and systems, and managerial competence in cross-functional decision-making, employee involvement and coaching, and the last, the ability and motivation of employees in adapting change. So such as increased automation across and between functions. You know, also for human resources, resistance to change is also important. So if people try to resist, so this is a big problem for the organization. I mean, resistance is in our life. I don't mean you will never have resistance. You will have resistance, but if you can have a good communication with the employees using technology, so they won't be resisting for a long time. They will get adapted maybe in a very short time. This is important. So EHRM and Human Resources Information Systems. So electronic human resources management, it's the information technology, for example, web, central component, application and HR function focus. And when we say human resources information systems, is technology and processes, databases, enterprise resources planning, architecture, smartphones, etc. that support employee access to HR data and the move to EHRM. So if you don't have human resources information systems, you don't have EHRM. So they are connected to each other. Human resources information system is the starting point. Now, the impact of the electronic. So web technology is changing every aspect of the way a company conducts its business, and also transforming the way in which companies manage their employees. So day by day, managing people is changing. Everything is changing the way HR professionals do their job. And as a result, human resources became the latest partner in the web development known as EHR. So when we describe EHR, now demands human resources to do its homework, requires executive participation. Remember, before, human resources was just like a personal management. It was not like a human resources management. It wasn't a complicated thing, and it wasn't in the decision making of an organization. But now, human resources manager of a company should be a line manager in the company, should be in decision taking. So it requires executive participation, both human resources manager and both the electronic human resources manager. It needs an excellent appreciation of technology and the use of technology. It requires a well-developed and integrated human resources information system within the organization. Needs to use wisely the network of technologies and various communication channels, such as the web, wireless, perhaps kiosks, everything within the organization. And also, I say within the organization. And also, there is furthermore, if you have clients, if you have customers, they can also reach some of your data that you enable or you give services online. So this is also, again, a great network of technology. And human resource information system will form the backbone of the EHR system. It will interface with the organization's intranet, connect to HR service suppliers and business partners via an extranet, as I say now, as well as have links to the internet via HR portals, single points of access. So process will allow cost-effective universal access to HR data by all authorized parties, like employees, managers, executives, HR service providers, relevant communities, corporate customers, and the public at large. And it will reduce the distance between the HR department and its internal customers. Now, when you automate human resources, you of course have advantages. You increase data accuracy. Again, it's increasing processing speed, create more useful, sophisticated results, and it will for sure increase productivity. And continuing with advantages of EHR, portals can create a single interface for accessing key data Online recruiting can eliminate paperwork and speed up the hiring process. Employee self-service can automate record keeping. And the web accessible knowledge base can reduce questions to the HR department or a call center. Electronic benefits enrollment lets employees sort through options faster while reducing paperwork and questions for HR. And electronic payroll can cut costs and make data more easily accessible. And trading exchanges and e-marketplaces can reduce the cost of products and services. So, continuing with advantages, there are lots of advantages. These are just a few, I can say. Trading exchanges and e-marketplaces can reduce the cost of products and services. E-procurement can eliminate catalogs and manual processes that are expensive for the organization and which are slow, and they are not easily reachable. When they are used electronically, they are easily accessed and low cost. Electronic travel and expense reporting can crumple the paper glut and speed up reimbursements to both employees and the company. So you make files, put papers, sign them, give them. So instead of these, if they are all electronically, it's easily to keep, and then you don't lose it, everything. Online retirement planning can also help employees map out their future while reducing questions and paperwork for HR. And online learning can slash travel costs and make training available anytime, anywhere. Imagine, company wants to give a simple training, and for that, they have lots of travel costs, maybe hotel accommodation costs, allowance, everything. But if it's really well designed online, it's really useful, and also the employee doesn't move from somewhere to another place. And I don't know how it happens in Jakarta, but in Istanbul, for example, or in London, in Paris, there is a heavy traffic. And then one person wants to get a training, and 2 hours going and 2 hours returning, 4 hours on the way for 2 hours training. So this is really ridiculous. But if it's online with a coffee, they can do it. Competency management can help an organization identify strengths and weaknesses. And of course, there are disadvantages, but it's not a big deal. I mean, if controlled well, the security of the HR data, this is privacy. HR related information is perhaps more critical than any other because it involves private and highly sensitive individual data for the organization. So this is your secret, organization secret, private thing. You sometimes outsource human resources functions. It's, of course, you cannot do everything within the organization, but whatever you do, you have to keep your data private. I mean, some of the data, it may be open, but some of the data, it's really private and you have to keep it. So you should be very careful while sharing it with your partners. And disclosure and cross-border movement of HR data is a critical issue that must be managed very carefully, based on country and organization specific, as well as individual authorizations. And EHRM in practice. Now, how is it used globally, electronically? Now, for example, for record keeping and reporting, the required information by HR professionals includes personal employee information. So it can be electronically, can be kept and recorded. Wages and salaries, the same. Review dates, benefits, education and training, attendance, performance appraisals. Users can view this info through reports such as figure. Now, here, there is a figure here, people, jobs, and positions. And then We have the HR functions: employment, equity, payroll, benefits, employee relations, pensions, compensation, training, development, HR planning, health and safety, workers' compensation, medical records, and recruitment and selection. These functions can be tracked electronically as much as the organization has technological resources. Now, when we talk about e-recruitment and e-selection, I will also give examples, cases from some organizations. Now, web-based job sites, portals, and kiosks to attract applicants. And according to Lukaszewski and Eisenhower, most common practices used for online recruitment involve adding recruitment pages to existing company websites, using specialized recruitment websites, job portals, online job boards, and developing interactive tools for processing applications such as online applications and automatic email responses, using online screening techniques such as keyword systems, online interviews, personality assessment, job posting on the intranet. Advantages and disadvantages of e-recruiting. Integration of technology in selection is complex. Now, steps when implementing e-selection process. Now, drawing up a flow chart of the current assessment process. Draft the desired flow process that will result from the e-selection process. Consider how the various new stakeholders and the clients, recruiters, administrators, etc. will use the system. Choose a new technology-enabled scoring system and how to prepare the candidate for the test. And at last, train the employees that will be responsible for the administration of the process. Now, there is a typical map for recruitment e-selection process. So there is the candidate, recruiter. So candidate visits the website, enters his CV, and then recruiter screens the resumes, CVs for potential job fit if they match the job and their skills. And then recruiter emails or calls the candidate, schedules for the test, alerts test administrator, gives information, and then the test administrator greets the candidates and connect to website for testing. Or it may be an interview. And then the candidate reads the instructions, and with the computer, he can do the test and then pass or fail. And if fails, maybe takes another test. And then if pass, a feedback is given, and then it continues. Then the interview comes, and then they qualify or not. So this is a typical e-recruitment process. And about e-training, you know, there are many functions of human resources. Now, let's come to e-training. Knowledge workers play an important part in the competitiveness of a company. And with the rapid explosion of knowledge today, knowledge workers possess that reality. And how can this process be stopped? Answer lies in training, and training makes learning and relearning essential if employees are to keep abreast with the latest developments in their fields. So growing demand from companies for just-in-time training and cost-effective ways. So training also, everything is, you know, a cost for the organization. So in everything, organizations think about cost effectiveness. Also, this is for training. Because you pay for something, but it should be effective. You don't pay for to lose your money. I mean, companies may have lots of resources, but they have to use them carefully. So cost effectiveness is also important for training. E-learning, there are 4 categories. So independent e-learning individually, group-based e-learning, virtual classroom, and blended learning. Tailored. And benefits of e-training and also disadvantages. You have all characteristics of successful e-learning programs and EHR-based performance management. Employees should be satisfied with the system. How can technology contribute to performance management? So measuring performance via computer monitoring, technology becomes a tool to facilitate the process of writing reviews or generating performance feedback. Now, let's talk about e-compensation. So to many employees, a lifelong commitment to an employer is no longer an option. Now, before, organizational commitment, organizational citizenship, these were important concepts. Today, it's still important, but the new generation, they don't fit a very well organization commitment. So they can have boundaryless career. So they may not have a lifelong commitment with the organization. So without talented staff, organizational competitiveness cannot be realized. So you have to keep the talented or make your organization attractive for the talented employees. So compensation has become an important tool for attracting these employees, skilled ones, talented ones, retaining and motivating the talent needed for survival over the long term, because organizations need talented staff to survive for a long time. E-compensation tools can enhance the practice of designing and administering compensation programs in 3 ways. And the tools can increase access to critical compensation information without the need for specialized IT staff to get involved. Enable around-the-clock availability of meaningful compensation information to senior managers, HR managers, and employees. And it can streamline cumbersome bureaucratic tasks through the introduction of workflow functionality and real-time information processing. Again, it speeds up the process. And the compensation tools thus enable an organization to gather, store, manipulate, analyze, utilize, and distribute compensation data and information. E-compensation is web-based rather than client-server-based or standalone PC-based, and you need software packages for this. Now we come to the cases. I will talk about 3 cases for digitalization. These 3 companies I all know very well because the head of HRs are my friends or colleagues. So I get the real information from them. One of them is Training Development Center, an HR consultancy company based in Istanbul, Turkey. Catexis Executive Advice, HR consultancy based in Stuttgart, Germany, but works globally. And Eczacıbaşı Holding, it's a Turkish company, but a very big company. It's a group company and operating all around the world. So I will talk about all these, give information about the companies, and then I will talk about their HR practices, EHR practices, of course, not simple HR practices. Now, Training Development Center, it's an assessment company based in Istanbul. So this is a company, the big companies, international companies. I gave here the brands Honda, Ford, Mercedes, because you all know these, but also there are other brands that you may not know in Indonesia, maybe popular in Turkey. So they serve these companies for the selection of qualified employees. So they are assessing, making assessment for the candidates. And they are an outsourced company. So during COVID, they started online assessments because all the assessments were face-to-face, but with COVID, they are obliged to do it online. So at first, of course, they had doubts about observing gestures and behaviors because their job while assessing is to observe gestures and behaviors and come to a decision. They make role plays during assessments. So this was their first doubt and comfort zone of the employee, because they try to spoil their comfort zone. It's their job. And there is a waiting room after the role play. And after the role play, they observe with at least 2 hosts or hostesses how they behave. So these things were a problem for them. They think it will be a challenge for them. And during implementation, so they started to do it. No problem with gestures and behaviors, but the reason is the cameras were in good quality and replaced well. So they didn't have problems because of this. And no problem in observing while they were taking the employee from their comfort zone. Again, it's about the cameras, well replaced and good quality. And no problem with the waiting room, because they watched on well replaced, good quality cameras. Again, the host and the hostess watch their behaviors. And of course, there were challenges and problems. At first, for the overaged employees who are not good at technology, they had some problems while using e-devices, the camera, the computer, etc. And then there was a few electric cuts during pandemic, and when there was no generator, again, it was a problem. Now, advantages. The advantage is low cost with travel and expenses. No travel, no accommodation cost, because for one assessment, usually they gave me a number, 8 staff from training development center, 4 assessors, and 4 hosts and hostesses. And there are sometimes 50, at most 100 candidates. So imagine that they go to a hotel and stay for maybe 2 days, and this assessment is done there. So this is a very high cost for the company. And now, post-COVID situation, most of the companies prefer online assessments because of low costs. However, some still insist on traditional face-to-face assessments because they believe that only face-to-face assessments can be successful. But Training Development Center says we have succeeded, experienced this online assessments, and we think that it has no difference between face-to-face, and there is no difference between face-to-face and online. So this is the case about Training Development Center. And now I go to Catex's case. So Catex's executive advice, I forgot that. I get this information from Özden Çetin, PhD. She's also an assistant professor in a university, but giving this service. She's the founder and manager of this company. And now executive advice, Catexis is a German-based company. Tarık Tarhan is the founder and managing partner. He is officially my cousin, living in Germany, and he is really doing a very good job. I'm not saying this because he's my cousin. He's very good at his job. So it's an executive search firm. Right manager for the right position. Maybe you can say headhunting, but he is finding the right person for the right positions. So companies come and they say, we are building a new factory in Poland and we need a general manager for this factory. And he finds the right person for this position. Sometimes he makes a transfer, maybe gives better conditions, better salaries, something like that. And he has client companies in digital media, e-commerce, advanced technology, as well as in industrial manufacturing and automotive. Now, their main activities: recruitment of leadership talent, key profiles, solutions for integration development, turnover prevention. This is important, you know, as I said, because there is organizational commitment is decreasing today. So turnover prevention, especially after COVID, turnover prevention is really will be a core topic in HR. Turnover prevention and succession management. These are their Catex's main activities. So pre-pandemic, all meetings with clients and candidates took place face-to-face. Since as an executive search consultant, essential to understand the hard fact requirements of a certain leadership role, get a deep sense of the hiring company's culture and its values, as well as the personality of potential candidates. So face-to-face is really essential to get the deep sense of the company and understand the requirements of the leadership role. But during COVID-19 pandemic, they were forced to design and introduce some major changes in executive search and selection process. They were obliged. Due to the dramatic restrictions and social distancing rules, they launched, which was launched in early 2020, and core procedure of business model was no longer feasible. Instantly, Catex had to adapt to the new circumstances. And they took some measures, and measures taken. Developed and implemented comprehensive new normal strategies for recruitment, e-recruitment. As I told before, switched all former face-to-face touch points to video calls, like we do now via Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, blah, blah. And new workflow management system to streamline all project-related tasks and documentation processes. Confidential reports on candidates, project status reports and updates, etc. But external access interfaces to increase transparency, because transparency builds trust. You have private things. And evaluated and established partnerships with service providers of online appraisal tools, like, example, US-based PI, the predictive index. You have the link of it. And introduced random unannounced rebound calls as an additional step to the selection process to hedge, reconfirm our assessment on candidates' personality traits, he says, and considerably expanded the number of client calls to regularly touch base and retain top of mind awareness. So these were the things Catexis had done and switched to digital implications. And now I will talk about Eczacıbaşı. This is the one of the biggest group company in Turkey. It's really very big, which was founded in 1942. It's also a very experienced company. It's the leader in most of its businesses. So it's a Turkish industrial group with 46 companies, over 12,000 employees, and net turnover in 2021 was 16 billion Turkish liras. And core sectors: building products, consumer products, and healthcare. And also they are active in information technologies, natural resources, and property development. Now, globally, Eczacıbaşı, world's top providers of bathroom and tiling solutions for homes, commercial venues with its brands, Vitra, Bergberg, Villaray Bosch, the tiles, Angers brands. Also, it's a major exporter of tissue paper, electronic smart cards, industrial raw materials such as clay and feldspar. An international partnership is their growth strategy. Has 3 international joint ventures, numerous cooperation agreements with leading international companies. Now, the HR director, Seher Mutlu Sayman, was my colleague before, and I got all these info from her. So their recent digital HRM work within the group company. I mean, all the group companies use the same systems that I'm going to talk about. Automation in recruitment. So they use RPA, called robotic process automation. So in their recruitment processes, RPA is used. It's kind of a robot sending emails to candidates from LinkedIn and sending responses to candidates. It enables HR teams to work more efficiently, and it reduces their work, of course. They are not overloaded with this. And about training and development. So progress of educational development processes on LMS, Learning Management System. Desired development goals and actions sent and followed on LMS. So employees use this learning management system. They enter their development goals and actions here. And it is also followed by human resources management team. So SAP's success factors used for training. So employees can use this application. They can choose the trainings and attend the trainings with this SAP success factors system. And people analytics. In people analytics, data mining is used. For example, I will give you an example. 3 years of detailed data examined on turnover interviews. Again, I say turnover is popular today. So they want to know why and what's happening. So with the 3 years of data, they examine turnover interviews, visualized through dashboards, and the question they look for, they seek for, and get the result with this data mining system. Which months do people quit work the most? So they work statistically on this. When is the breaking point? What kind of companies do they prefer most? Why do they leave? And what is the trend? So these are the questions they look for with data mining. And employee experience. This is really good for employees. An application used called employee self-service. It's user-friendly and employees can easily access. And through this application, employees can apply for new positions in the company. So they can get information, the current news, developments within the company. They can also see their own payrolls here. And in addition, onboarding service via application to newcomers. So if there is a new employee coming to the company, before they arrive, there is an onboarding service via application. And employees who have not yet started work can learn about the company, get information about the company. Maybe they get information about their job. And before they start, they get useful information with this application.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Because of limited time, I think.
Finish.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Just on time?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, now for questions.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for your presentation. It's really interesting for us. Yeah. as you said that everything changed into digitalized, yeah, including human resource management, including recruiting, training, e-compensation, even preventing turnover of companies, sir. Yeah, and surely it can be more effective and efficient, not only for the institution but also for the employee itself. And truly, maybe I have to say that the COVID actually have helped us to encourage these all. Yes, sir. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we move on to the next session. It is question and answer session, and I will invite participants to ask directly to our speaker. You can raise your hand first, and then you can unmute your speaker, or if you have bad signal, you may write on your question on the chat box, then I will read it. Don't forget to state your name and institution, and then questions. Excuse me, Mr. Tarhan, would you like to answer one by one question? Is it okay?
It's better, I think.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right. Yeah, okay, we have Ashila. Yeah, you have raised your hand. And then Fitriani, the second. Let's start from Ashila.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ashila Faiza Diandra. I'm from University of Jakarta. My question is, as I read on the screen, the electronic era on business only have good impact. Is the electronic era on business have bad impact? Can you explain it? Thank you.
I couldn't understand the question. Electronic era impact on what?
Bad impact, sir.
Bad impact.
Yes.
Okay, not every
Does
time.
it have bad impact?
Yeah, of course, I think. If everything is digitalized, and if we only use everything digitally, maybe we can, it can be a bad thing for the culture sometimes. Because people start to lose maybe socializing. So people, employees or clients, everything, all these stakeholders, partners, they should be in touch face to face. If everything is all the time online, so it may be a problem for socializing for people. So you have to have a balance for this. But COVID-19 was a different thing, but now I think it passed and we are coming to normal life. So it's to use digital things, e-business, balanced. That's my answer for this.
Okay, thank you so much. That's the key, sir. The balancing in using this technology, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Ashila, is it clear for you?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Fitriani.
Hello, everyone. My name, previously, permission to introduce myself. My name is Fitriani Nurul Awalia from Digital Office Administration, Faculty of Economy, State University of Jakarta. Permission to ask, how do further improve our ability in terms of administration as a young generation in the era digital? Thank you.
Susan, can you help me with the question?
Yes, excuse me, Fitri, I cannot catch your question because of the noisy. Would you please to repeat it again, please?
Okay, ma'am. How to further improve our ability in terms of administration as a young generation in the digital era? Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
As I understand, how to improve ourselves as a young generation in digital era. Very good.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, Nurul Avallah. Actually, you are luckier than us, because when I was born, there was no computer.
Yes.
I think I first met computer when I was 12 or 13 years old. And then I used to use mobile phones, but they were not like this today. They were just with a big antenna, only for messaging and calling. And I think I was 17 or 18. So you are really lucky, because when I observe the young generation, when they are a baby, really a baby, they can use an
Yes.
iPad or a mobile phone. Very good. So you get you are really adapted in this technology. So, but of course, it's not everything. I mean, this is the starting point, and you are luckier than the older generations. This is the first thing. But you have to improve yourself, develop yourself, of course, because, for example, today maybe you have heard about it. There are lots of applications, programs for data mining, for everything, like Python and other things. Python is a program, but it's like a new language, like learning English, like learning Spanish. It's a language. It's a language of information systems. This is an example. I'm not only talking about Python, but Python is one example. So you can seek for the applications or information systems that will be aligned to your job, what you will be in the future, and in this job, in this sector, which programs are used, which are very important. For example, if you are an engineer, maybe AutoCAD is very important tool. So seek for these things, these programs, and improve yourself in these things that you will need in your job in the future. SAP systems, many things. You will need them.
Correct. All right. So the key is just use the technology for upgrading ourselves, right, sir? Yeah, since our students now here are all the office administration students, then Fitriani and all students here can use the technology to upgrade your professionalism as office administration students, right?
Yeah.
All
So
right.
they can seek for office administration tools digitally and improve themselves on them.
All right. Okay. Is it clear, Fitriani?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome. Yes. All right. The next question. Oh, there is a question, sir, from the chat from Rizky Firdausi Rahma. I'd like to read the question. Does EHR generally lead to better human resource service in corporate? Please do explain. Thank you. From our one of our lecture.
Yeah, lead to better human resource service, because, as I said, everything is digitalized. So, and also young generation is born digitalized. So in one way, this young generation is serving for the organization, but also organization has to serve this young generation. And so this young generation expecting digital things. They don't seek for papers to see their payrolls or everything, or to apply for a training. They don't want to fill in a paper. So they are used to do it on digitally. And also this is for employees, but also for the organization to keep the records, everything. So as I told in my presentation, if these things digitalize, it speeds up the organization, and it's really better to keep everything in records. So it's, of course, it leads better human resources management. That's right.
All right. Thank you. Okay. And then Next question, sir, from chat.
Yeah, I
Would
see
you
it
like-
now.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the wonderful presentation, Mr. Herkantahan, PhD. My name is Marcelia Fauzi from University of Jakarta. The question is, what problems are often found in aspect of human resources, sir? What problems often found?
Of course, there are lots of problems because we need human resources, but humans, as I said today, turnover is a problem with them. Training may be a problem, not a problem, but challenge, let's say, because for training you need cost. You have to know what the employee needs, and everything may be a challenge. Compensation, because you have rivals, what do they pay and what you pay, the job skills, right position for the right person. So these may be all challenges, problems to an organization if not well controlled. If human resources as a department is not valued, these may be a problem for the company. So each function of human resources is important, like rewarding, compensation, recruitment, all these functions has to be linked to each other and work together, managed well in a company.
So the key is each company have its own value, sir, to prevent all the challenges, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Next,
but each company should give importance to their human resources management. This is very important.
All right. Next question, sir. Yeah, from Zulfiana. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zulfiana Siti Awalia. Previously, you explained about the steps of computerization of human resource, sir. What is meant by vendor selection in the steps of computerization? What is it like, sir?
Yes. Vendor selection, like where you sell the products and where you market your products. Where and how you market your products.
All right. Okay. There is still a question from Sasha. I think this is the last question. Yeah, Sasha, because of limited time. Sasha, would you like to speak up?
Hi. Okay. Good evening, Mr.
Good afternoon.
Introducing myself, my name is Sasha Melani. I'm from the State University of Jakarta, and I want to ask a question, something about what form of compensation are commonly adopted by companies to retain employees and keep employees safe, and then are they still productive? Thank you.
The question is about compensation, but I couldn't get.
Yeah, the point. Yeah, Sasha. Sasha, would you please to speak slowly?
Oh, okay.
It's about compensation. I got it, but
yes.
Okay, what form of compensation are commonly adopted by companies to retain employees and keep employees safe, and are they still productive or not? Thank you, Mr.
Adaptive compensation, sir. How is about adaptive compensation of a company should be?
Now, I gave some examples that compensation, the payrolls, other things can be followed by the employees. So everything digitally, not only on paper. So if an employee wants to see the payroll, he or she has to reach easily and easy access and see. And Also, this is on the side of employees. But on the side of the organization, also for the compensation, it should be followed digitally. How rival companies pay for the same position. So if they keep these records, if they can follow these records and keep these records, it will be a good data for the company. So there are two sides for compensation, one for the organization, one for the employee rights. So employee can reach easily, and also the organization should make a research about the compensation policies of other companies, a market research.
I see. All right. Is it clear, Sasha?
Clear. Thank you, Mr.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there are actually many things we would like to discuss since this topic is really important and interesting for us. However, we are limited by time. Therefore, before I end this webinar, allow me to conclude this webinar. It is that human is the most critical resource having the role of competitive advantage. Therefore, finding a new concept and best practice for how managing human resources in this challenging digital era is urgent. And implementing the human resource information system becomes a solution since the digital revolution is currently a massive drive of change across sectors and also geographies. It is not only talk about hardware, software, but also including people, forms, policies, procedures, and data. And by understanding these all concepts, we can facilitate each human resource function or process and do more. Just be aware of the changes. It is develop new best practices to address them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, finally, we would like to gratitude our speaker today, Mr. Herkan Turhan, PhD. Thank you so much for your insightful presentation and already share with us. We are really pleased about this, sir. Once more, tashakurla. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, as a moderator, I'm Susan Febriantina, would like to apologize for any mistakes during this webinar. Thank you so much for your participation, and I will give it back to Master of Ceremony. See you next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, everyone. I'm
Thank you
glad
so much,
that
sir.
you listened to me. I hope it was a good lecture. I hope you liked it. Goodbye.
Yes, of course. Sir, there is still a session from Master of Ceremony to say special gratitude for you. Would you please not to leave us?
Okay, thank you to Ma'am Susan for being our moderator today. And we would like to say our gratitude to our main speaker today, Mr. Herkan Turhan, PhD. And for that, we would like to give an e-certificate as a symbol of our appreciation. To the operator team, please share the e-certificate for Mr. Herkan.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Herkan. The material that has been presented earlier is truly very inspiring, and of course also adds insight for all of us about how to develop ourselves in carrying out work in this digital era.
Ladies and gentlemen, we remind all participants of today's webinar not to forget to fill in the presence and evaluation link as one of the requirements to get an e-certificate, which will be sent through the WhatsApp group.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of the webinar. Thank you to all participants who have been willing to attend and take part in the Human Resource Digitalization International Webinar held by Diploma for Digital Office Administration, Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, with the theme Office Human Resource Development Strategy in the Digital Era. Before we end this webinar, we would like to take some documentation. So all participants, please turn on the camera and we will give the cue.
On the count of 3, we will print the screen to be one of the documentation. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. As the committee, we would like to thank the head of Diploma for Digital Office Administration Program, Mr. Christian Wiradiwolor, for giving us special and precious opportunity like this. Our special gratitude also due to the Dean of Economics Faculty, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, for facilitating this such great webinar. Thank you. We would like to apologize for any mistakes during this international webinar.
I am Gracia Irena Saputri and my partner
Aulia Fitri Maharani.
as the Master of Ceremony of today's webinar. See you next time.
Good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To all participants are allowed to leave the Zoom room.
Thank you. Thank you,
so
Dr.
much,
Sofian.
sir. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you, Christian.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ma'am Susan. Teman-teman sekalian, thank you.